considered as a communication. And then we have context. What is context? Context is actually a physical environment in which a word is used. So, where we are during we talk, during when we delivering our speech, it is considered as context. Allow me to tell you one fact about context. One word can bring a whole different meaning in different contexts. Let's say an example of engage. We can use engage in terms of students, teachers, engagement in the classroom. And also we can use engage, the word engage, in terms of engagement, like engagement ring or engagement events and so on. So, what is the importance of context to language use? The first one is to help to communicate differently according to the context. So, allow me to explain one situation between casual text to a friend and also email to a manager. When we texting with our friends, we usually using informal tone, friendly and more relaxing. For example, we use hi, we use bro, we use a lot of slang in our text. But we cannot use the same method as how we talk to our friends when we sending an email to our manager. We should use more formal tone, respectful and also concise when we are sending email to our manager, because we know that he is our employer, he is our boss, which have a different hierarchy than us. Okay. Then from here we can see that language needs context to function as communication between speakers and also listeners.
So the second importance of context used in language use is it prevents misunderstanding. When the context helps us to ensure that the intended meaning of the words and or phrases is accurately understood by the second person to reduce the risk of the confusion. For example, we see break a leg, which means good luck in the theatre context, but someone may misinterpret it as threat without context. For example, like break, we usually use the word break a leg. It is an idiom, but for the knowledgeable person, we know that that word, that phrase is an idiom. So we understood that meaning, but for the other person who is not knowledgeable enough to know that that's an idiom, it leads to a bigger problem in the future that they might harm someone when we speak that kind of words. So,
So now we're going to move on to situational context. So it is importance of context managers in situational context, which is we can maintain the respect and appropriateness, which is we can maintain the positive relationship and effective communication. Like Maha, Farah is friendship, right? But if we compare to someone's like Dr. Faustina, she is lecturer to us. So the relationship between us is lecturer and students. Okay, so I will show you one video that shows this response.
But before I said it, who said it? Excuse please. Yes? Chairman Ma'am.
It's very short clip, which is the setting environment obviously is the classroom and the relationship between them is students and teacher, and they have to be formality and polite. So the polite way to a student to get the teacher's attention by saying excuse before telling the answer. This is for respect the teacher authority, also the classroom dynamics, and the signaling the students to engage in the classroom. It's also the as I said before, it's making the respect and show the relation between them. So the lesson in the classroom will be more smoothly and appropriately. Next. very important to enhance engagement. It will be more enjoyable, engaging, and relaxing for us. Like I'm talking to Maha more engaging, enjoyable, and it maintains interest and participation. So you guys want to hear from me more and more. And this is to stimulate thought, which is we can't introduce idioms or philosophical ideas without actually encourage a deeper thinking and reflection in casual way. Okay, this
You
is
know your handkerchief?
No, it is in my head.
This is terrible. If you're found out, you'll be disqualified.
Old Japanese philosopher said, men who deals from bottom usually end up on top.
You was then?
Terror not good, I work so. So, I found reason on chair.
Okay, so this is the relationship friendship and casually and relaxed, which is they actually just have a very casual topic. They actually talk about how they cheat in their exam, and you know the light-hearted conversation between them. They insert their philosophical from Japan. Also, the tone of delivery is very relaxed, no aggressive tone, and very informal. And also, Jero actually incorporate a philosophical ideas in a way that matches the casual tone and conversation. Also, if you want to incorporate the philosophical, you need a very light and playful humor. Like Jero just continues the way of cheating like his friend is doing, but even worse. So it enhances conversation without actually getting overly serious, and everyone will get stressful by hearing that. And it's also balancing the depth and humor and avoid any really deep philosophical analyzing. Okay, next, it is very important to how we choose the appropriate language, and then we can influence what is considered polite and respectful or appropriate in different contexts, which is Maha and us, as Farah and me, have a very different culture. So whenever I talk to you, I will choose something that more polite towards you, you know, and it can influence the speech pattern and etiquette. Like I just say, I can choose the way I talk to you. Yeah. Okay, this is for example.
Thank you. You must be nervous. It's the first time you haven't stood up and bowed.
Okay, and this is the second key.
Can you tell me how many peas there are in a pound?
Okay, so this is stay in the classroom, but the relationship changed students and teacher. We can see the first teacher actually very aware with the students' culture, which is he can detect that Taro being so nervous because Taro is not bowing before shake their hands. And then, okay, bowing is traditional sign of respect and politeness to Taro because Taro is Japanese, and it's going to talk. Farah going to talk deeper about that, and it's one of non-verbal language. Okay, and the second clip, before Charo answering the question from his teacher, he bowed first and then next. Okay, next it is very important to convey the emotional and social intent and behind the words, and it's manage the conflict and show the listener how speaker really feel. Sometimes our situation encourage us to talk maybe more aggressive or more polite. It depends. Okay, but as a human being, we have emotion. Okay, this is for example.
Dear Miss, I'm writing to tell you of my feelings for you. I think you are beautiful. I want to hold you in my arms and kiss you. Please say you feel the same about me. Oh, my love. Thank you.
What is going on in here?
Nothing.
It certainly doesn't look like nothing.
Well, I was just writing a letter for Zoltan to his girlfriend, and he was showing me his appreciation in Hungarian.
Kindly leave us.
What, Your Honor?
Go. I said go. Go. Now, Mr. Brown, I understand that none of your previous students passed their lower Cambridge certificate.
Well, I think there were a few near misses.
That is not good enough. Obviously, Mr. Brown, you are sadly lacking in the necessary qualities required to teach the English.
I've just done that.
Don't interrupt. I shall be keeping a very...
Okay, so we can see it has a misunderstanding, and she's using a very aggressive tone, and the way she talks is casual and conversational tone, but the dismissive tone is something like don't interrupt, to make him actually stop and listen to her first. And then the way she talks is slightly like shout to express that she's really disagree or disapprove with what he's doing. So this is the way she's talk don't show how the a little lack of empathy without acknowledge the other person's feelings in the situations, and also demanding something. So when we talk like casually or relaxedly, don't, sometimes people don't hear us, like they keep talking, right? But when we start to make more aggressive, like don't, and they actually stop and listen to us. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to pass to Maha, going to talk about it.
Okay, let me take over from here. So we're going to take a look at interpersonal context, where it refers to a social setting where people have conversations with someone else. Like I said before, interpersonal context should have two people or more than two people. Okay. It also includes factors like power dynamics, familiarity, and social roles. So we are going to take a look at interpersonal context of the video, where in the classroom, where the video takes place, it shows that the interpersonal context is kind of complicated and varied, with different interactions that's happening between Mr. Brown, the teacher, and also his diverse group of students who comes from different cultures. So we're going to take a look at a video clip.
Thank you. You must be nervous. It's the first time you haven't stood up and bowed. That one. Which is about that. Not too wrong. Thanks, Professor. Too nervous to shake hands, eh?
Oh, I see, I'm very nervous.
Oh, nonsense. Come on, there. That didn't hurt, did it? Not a lot. That's it. That's funny. Where did that didn't come from?
Maybe your pen has got a leak.
Let me see your hand, Leon.
There's nothing there, Professor.
And the other one.
There's nothing there either.
But there's something there, though, isn't there?
Oh, no! My pen's got a leak as well.
As why it was leaking, it just happened to write a few verbs down.
Sorry, Professor, my verbs is a bit bad.
Yeah, well, I suggest you clean all that off. I don't...
So we can see from that video clip, you can see the teacher-student relationship dynamics, where the scenario shows that throughout the video, Mr. Brown can be seen in numerous scenes attempting to manage his classroom, which is populated by students who comes from different cultures, and each of them faces different kinds of obstacles to learn, and also in their pursuit of English competency. So for instance, Mr. Brown, he noticed that the student had written verbs on his hand for the exam sheet. So he uses a combination of authority and also humor to address that situation, and gently reminding the student in a light-hearted manner that he marks that I suggest you to clean all that off, and which also emphasizes that cheating is not acceptable during exam. So we can see that Mr. Brown uses both formal and informal language. So that dynamic shows the balance between maintaining authority and also creating a comfortable learning environment. So by using both formal and informal language, he also cues the to build rapport, yet he remains as the authority figure in the classroom. So when he used the humor like saying, I suggest you to clean all that off, he got to maintain the class to have this comfort atmosphere rather than aggressive atmosphere. It makes that the other students feel comfortable during this class and pay attention to what he's trying to say. And also he asserts authority when needed to maintain order, where this reflects the common pedagogical approach in many Western education settings, where the teachers are approachable, but they still hold authority. They will be flexible in the classroom, but they still maintain the class under their control. So we can see in that video. So we can see the next video.
Giovanni, what should we give you to speak about? Girls. I don't think so, Giovanni. Have you any hobbies?
Sure. My favorite hobby is girls.
Have you any other hobbies?
Sure, but not as good.
That's difficult for you, Giovanni, but try and speak for 1 minute without bringing girls into your conversation.
Okay. I've got two other hobbies. The first hobby is making the wine.
What's the second hobby?
Drinking it. After I drink it, I do my third hobby. But you don't let me talk about that. Hey, my friend Vincenzo, his hobby is pinching.
Oh, you mean he's a thief?
No, not a thief.
He said his hobby was pinching. What does he pinch?
You don't let me talk about that.
Giovanni, that'll do.
Okay.
So good. I am guilty married.
Yeah, we're doing this. Listen, I'm not supposed to be here, so I should be in the pub. But if you're calling when you finish your exam, I'll buy you all an end-of-term drink. Good luck, Tone.
Thank you.
You must be nervous. It's the first time you haven't stood up and bowed. Good luck, one.
Which is your left.
Good luck, Giovanni.
Thanks, Professor.
Too nervous to shake hands, eh?
Oh, I see, I'm very nervous.
Oh, nonsense. Come on.
Okay, from that both video clips, you can see the peer-to-peer interactions, where the scene shows that the students who comes from various cultural backgrounds, and also they often communicate in ways that reflect their native languages in structures and also norms. For example, we can see Giovanni's Italian language with the English, and also we can see Taro's Japanese mixed with English. So we can see their different communication and also their difference in the language that they are speaking. Okay, we can see that in that scene, Giovanni, an Italian student, he humorously talks about his hobbies, focusing on his love for wine and girls, and also his direct and openness in talking about his personal topics. It kind of contrasts with Taro, because he's more to a reserved type of person, and he restrains himself before answering questions that Mr. Brown asked. So from that video clip, we got to see that these interactions reveal different cultural approaches to communication, where Giovanni's behavior reflects Mediterranean cultural norm, where expressiveness and humor are a common thing. But for Taro, who's a Japanese student, it is indicating Japanese cultural norm that prioritize hierarchy, respect, and restraint in communication, particularly in a formal environments like such as classroom. Okay, like Alicia said, Alia said previously, in Japanese culture, before we greet someone, they tend to bow to show that person that they are not inferior to us. So that is Japanese norm. While for the Mediterranean Mediterranean norm, they tend to express themselves more rather than be reserved in their own way. So it is also essential for students to understand those differences in order to cultivate effective communication in a multicultural classroom. So it also highlights the interpersonal context that is shaped by the cultural backgrounds of the diverse students in the classroom, and it also affecting how that students perceive and also engage with one another, even though they don't understand the other person's culture. Okay, and understanding that is the key for fostering effective communication in a multicultural environment. So we are going to take a look at the next video.
I was on hand to his girlfriend and he was showing me his appreciation in Hungarian.
Kindly leave us.
What German?
Go. I said go. Go. Now, Mr. Brown, I understand that none of your previous students passed their lower Cambridge certificate.
Well, I think there were a few near misses.
That is not good enough. Obviously, Mr. Brown, you are sadly lacking in the necessary qualities required to teach English.
I'll just
Don't interrupt. I shall be keeping a very close eye on you this time, Mr. Brown, and unless I see a marked improvement, out you go.
It's not
I have
necessary.
no wish to listen to your feeble excuses.
Don't so cow.
Okay, from that short video clip, you can see the authority and hierarchy in that setting, where you can see the power dynamic is evident when Mr. Brown interacts with the headmistress, Miss Courtney, who exercises authority over him, where she criticizes Mr. Brown for his students' bad performance in the scene in a formal manner. She also told him that you are sadly lacking in the necessary qualities required to teach English, which is kind of aggressive, but Mr. Brown, he responds to that question respectfully, but also at the same time his ambitions also get to show that he is just a subordinate and he must accept the criticism. So from this, it demonstrates a formal hierarchical relationship between where Miss Courtney role as the headmistress places her in a position of authority over Mr. Brown. And her formal language and also a critical tone kind of shows the stark contrast with Mr. Brown's more relaxed style and more casual approach when speaking to his students. So this demonstrates the influence of interpersonal context in terms of selection of language, tone, and also communication style. So I'm gonna give it to Alicia.
Now, we have talked about situational context by Aya and also interpersonal context by Mom. And now, I'm going to delve deeper into culture context. So, what is culture context? Culture context covering a lot of things. This includes values, beliefs, norms, and also practices. These 4 main points is important to shape how people interact within their community and also how they express their beliefs. Okay, so let's take an example of a Muslim culture, Islamic culture. Women usually wear their hijabs, and all of the Muslims will basically fast during the Ramadan. This is how their way of showing their beliefs by dedicating their deeds towards the religions. And then we have language, customs, traditions, and social expectations. These 4 points also influence people to behave, communicate, and so on. So, let us look at the Korean and Japanese cultures, like both Alia and Maha just talked just now, which is the culture of bowing. They bow in purpose to greet the other persons. So it is a part of their culture, and this is how they show their respect to the other persons as well. So every time we went to their country, we should get used to their culture of bowing instead of getting perplexed by their actions. Next, we have how people interpret actions, symbols, and communication. For this part, I would like to explain you more about how people interpret the symbols and also the kind of communication in one's culture. Let's talk about a Malaysian culture itself, or culture itself. We take our right hand and put it on our left chest. This is how we greet other people. No matter who they are, even though they are foreigner or between ourselves, we always greet people like that because it is our way, it is our culture, and we should appreciate for that. And lastly, we have how to understand characters' motivation, societal structures, and also cultural references. From here, when we understand well why people's actions are like that according to their culture, we will understand why it is happening, eventually, why it is happening. By this, we should always alert from where we are, whenever we are, or wherever we go. We should always aware of their culture because some of our words or our action might bring a whole different meaning in their culture.
First of all, can anyone tell me who said to be or not to be? Please, you just said it. But before I said it, who said it? Excuse please. Yes? Chairman Mao. It must come as a surprise to you to know that other people wrote things besides Chairman Mao. Chairman Mao wrote everything, but he certainly didn't write to be or not to be. Now does anybody know? William Shakespeare, correct?
From this short clip, we can discover that not all people know who is William Shakespeare. Some students even misunderstood the quote "to be and not to be," which was quoted by William Shakespeare, someone very famous in Western countries, due to their cultural background. We know that in that class, there are various students from a different background. Some might be from Asian, some might be from Western, and some might be from the European side. So, that giving a reason why they don't know William Shakespeare. Let's see, a Chinese student just now. She thought that to be and not to be was quoted by the Chairman Mao, which was someone who was influential in her country. So from here we know that how non-native students will eventually interpret the Western culture. Because they don't have exposure with someone as famous like William Shakespeare, who was a famous poet, a famous player, and also a famous actor back then in 15,000s. Okay, let's see our second clip.
Yes, please. What is your name? Oh no, what is not my name? I don't want to know what your name is not. What is your name? And I'm telling you it is not. What is his name?
Nine.
Ah, now we're getting somewhere. Mr. Nine.
That is not his name.
You said it was.
You asked me if his name is Bob, and I tell you nine. Bob is not his name, but also.
Okay. From this short clip also, we can see the language confusion occurs between two students and also a policeman. Those students misunderstood what for a name instead of what for a question. This is illustrate how English names and also a question can be misinterpreted by the students who are not the native speakers. So from here, we can learn that knowing the context in a situation, knowing the context is important for you to convey your to communicate with other people, especially for those who are natives. That's me.
So as for the personal insights, I would like to share from my experience that I have noticed that this adapting language to the listener's context, such as using a simpler term with non-native speakers, it greatly enhances communication between one another, because it shows clarity and also it reduces potential misunderstandings, like I said, which leads to the risk of confusion. And also the videos that we have seen previously has shown humor frequently results from the conflict between the intended and interpreted meanings, which serves as a prime example of the essential part of the concept in the effective communication. And also, it also highlights the concept of language development requires more than just vocabulary and grammar, but it also involves comprehensions of the culture, interpersonal, and also situational aspects which influence the language usage. So, language learners also are able to use the most appropriate vocabulary, tone, and also expressions for the situation, audience, and purpose by understanding the context, which enables the learners to communicate more effectively. Like I'm talking to you and you understood what I'm trying to convey. So it enables the learners to communicate more effectively and also avoid misunderstandings, like I said before, and also navigate through the cultural differences. Even though we have many cultural differences, like I'm a different culture than both of you. So even though we have a different culture, we tend to use this language use context in communication, and it kind of show less difference than what we're trying to speak. And also understand that context is essential for the both teacher and also student to establish a supportive learning environment in the classroom, where language is crucial and also important in real life situations. So being a teacher and a student, they have to use this language context, because without this language context, they might not be able to communicate and they might not be able to deliver the message they are trying to convey to each other. Where the student, where the teacher, she should know that the importance of this language is one of the major effects of communication among themselves and also students in their everyday life. So, slide. So for the conclusion from the three of us discussed, that these detailed examples from the video illustrate how context in the aspect of situational, cultural, and interpersonal affects the language use. So they highlight the importance of understanding the context to communicate effectively, like I said before in my personal insight, and also avoid misunderstandings and also adapt language to fit the circumstances and cultural dialogues, also with the relationships involved. So it shows us that from our previous discussion here, how important that context plays in our everyday life, that it plays a critical role, a vital role in our everyday life to know one another better.
So basically, we can put it into simple words. Context is very important to ensure an effective communication flows between we and other people. So language and context is something that we cannot separate.